Hassan, son of Yusef. Hassan sat at the coffee shop table while his cousin served the other customers. The group of older men sat across from him. One of the men looked his way and waved at him. Hassan felt embarrassed for being noticed. "Come sit with us," said the man. Hassan recognized his face. He was the kind man from Iraq who reminded him of his father. He shuffled over to the table where the men were. A Yemeni man pulled a chair from another empty table and placed it in front of Hassan. "You are welcome. What is your name, boy?" "My name is Hassan Hamid." "And where are you from, Hassan?" "I am from Aleppo." "It is in Syria." The men smiled. "We know, son." "You escaped the trouble?" "Yes, sir, some time ago." "Did your entire family make it out?" "No, sir, my father stayed behind. I am not sure if he died or not." Hassan's demeanor changed. The Iraqi man put his hand on his shoulder. "He was fighting against Assad when ISIS came through. They threw a bag over his head and started to beat him in front of my mother. We never saw him again." "Was he fighting against Assad when they caught him?" "Yes, sir. He had been an engineer by trade but took up arms to defend our home." "The man fights one kind of cancer and then another approaches him from behind," said another man at the table. "You took the road into Turkey?" "Yes, sir." "I'm amazed you made it out. By God's protection, sir." "Where have you been since?" "We stayed a while in a camp in Turkey." Let me move. I'm probably getting some wind. We stayed a while in a camp in Turkey and then into Germany, where we stayed for a few years. Went to school there. "Why are you in France?" "There were some people complaining about the amount of Muslims coming into the part of Germany we were in. Most people were welcomed us, the neighbours, and schools were very nice, but there were some who left threatening notes in our mailbox. My mother got scared, so we felt it was time to move on." "Well, you are welcome here. I hope that the French make you feel at home." "I hope so too, but it will never be home." "We know, son. We know." It's a short chapter, so I'll probably add two. That was just, again, when I mentioned Hassan before, that almost verbatim, not the coffee shop scene, but the boy's story. He's a fictional character, but the story is from a true story that was on a PBS, Public Broadcasting Service channel in the States. And I mentioned it in a previous chapter, but in this case, that is how his dad died. And anyway, a very heartbreaking story about this Muslim family that found its way into Ringsend. It's a beautiful morning here, I must say. And now I will actually. I'm just going to give you another chapter because it's yeah, why not? Monaghan's assignment. Pat Monaghan was late for the office that morning. He was hoping to catch up on some email from home, but his CAC reader seemed to be malfunctioning. CAC is an acronym for a government military ID badge. He grabbed a cup of coffee, threw in some sugar and milk, and got into the car. There was a subway off of 123 that he could stop by to get something to eat. Not the best choice, but better than the Exxon station he would pass by. By this time, all the best parking spots would be taken. Crap, he thought to himself. Nothing like a long walk on a humid day. His first communion rosary swung from his mirror as he exited 123. His wife, an evangelical by birth, called them idols. He called them a piece of himself. He'd come a long way from Our Lady of the Ridge and from most of his friends, who still met Sunday afternoons at the Cork and Kerry on Western Avenue. The visits home to Chicago were infrequent, but he enjoyed catching up. "You'll do great things in this life, Patrick," his mother had said, soon before she died. What did it all matter now that Michael was gone? All the success, the showing off, and now a large part of his soul and his seed wiped out. It was close to 10 a.m. before his boss turned up at his desk. "You planning on going back to the homeland anytime soon, Monaghan?" "No plans." "You sure?" "I'm not aware of any plans." "Want to hang out in Dublin, the embassy, for a bit to do some snooping around?" "For how long?" "Maybe a few months, a few weeks. What's up?" Scotland Yard asked us for some help in cyberspace, so we did some initial poking around and came up with a network we can't seem to get into, but we think we should. Really? Yeah. Why is Dublin involved? The protected network got expanded there some time back. Would like someone on the ground to poke around. We have an interceptor platform built out of the US Embassy's data center. Do what you can with that. We'll send you with a mobile interceptor also. You're the perfect guy. You have the tech and the Irish to go with it. Do I have a choice? Sure. Yemen's the other choice. I'll call Aer Lingus now then. I figured you would. What else do we know? The network started in Paris and now has links into Brussels, London, and most recently Dublin. We've been trying to crack into it for a while, but have been lacking the priority and resources. If you can dedicate yourself to it, we'd be curious to know what's going on. Why not hand it over to Europe? It's their problem. You're a history buff, right? Yeah. Well, you should know. It'll become our problem eventually. Oh, I forgot to mention, the network also extended to Beijing some time ago. We're very curious why there of all places. Okay, I'll set up and report back. There you go, another short chapter. Okay, next chapter we're going to hit Agent 9. And there you go, and a few notes there, just commentary. It mentions an interceptor platform and then a mobile interceptor platform. That's I'm just waiting for my friend Frank. I did some contracting with the Air Force in the cyber space defensive unit, and what was interesting is they call them weapon systems when they create a hardware and software that is defending the Air Force networks, which I think is interesting because it is a cyber weapon. So they're building weapon systems. Anyway, there was a few different types. One was a mobile interceptor, which is a laptop that an Air Force person will go to a location and plug it in to try to find hackers, and track them, and kill their threat if it's a threat. And then there's a bigger one that can handle a bigger network, and that's I think they call it a garrison. I think this is I don't think I'm violating any clearance when I mention that. I think that's easily accessible, but it was a big set of it took up half a cabinet in a data center, but it was a massive set of servers and storage that you would go into a location and set it up. Anyway, so I brought reference to that. Now I'll let you go.